Never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Subscribe now on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And now, here's your host, Emmet Kennedy.
You're welcome to the weekend preview on the Final Furlong podcast. As always on a Thursday, we've got George Gorman, Andy Newton, and the man who tipped up a 120-1 winner. It's the glorious return of Peter Michael. I don't know how you did that, Peter. I mean,
well, he was 33s when I tipped him up, so everyone laid him and he went to 120. That's how.
Yeah, well, that's a mistake that they won't make again. Peter Michael Racing on X, P Michael Racing on X. If you want to take advantage of the incredible insight from this man, we are going to preview what should be a spectacular Saturday of racing. We've got the Hennessy Gold Cup to talk about. I know there's another bookmaker name behind that, but we all love the nostalgic name. Speaking of nostalgic names, the Fighting Fifth, which is the first leg of the Champion Hurdle Triple Crown, and this might as well be the Champion Hurdle. We've got the New Line, the outstanding novice hurdler of last season, bids to be only third horse in 25 years to win what is the Bearing Bingham, now the Turner's Grade 1 novice hurdle, and the Fighting Fifth in the same year. Former superstar Constitution Hill, who suddenly has been well back since the declarations. All the money was for the New Line during the week. Now that the declarations are out with 1xBet, it's joint favourites in Ireland for Constitution Hill and him, and it's a bit of a drifter for the Irish horse Anzadam. Ireland have won this race 4 times in the last 25 years. No one for Willie Mullins yet. Is this going to be his first winner in the race? We shall see. We haven't even mentioned the Champion Hurdle winner, Golden Ace. George Gorman, who are you with?
Yeah, look, the key stats for me in this race: 9 in the last 13 ranged between 5 and 7, which takes Constitution Hill and the Mere Lion out. And 8 of the last 13 have had at least one previous win in a Grade 1 race, which takes out Anzadam. And it just backs up my gut feeling, really. Like many people, I've got a tendency to get attached to horses. I was there the day that New Lion won the Bearing Bingham. I couldn't have been more against him. I was all over Final Demand. Yellow Clay really impressed me, but I've never had such a turnaround on a horse for seeing it in the flesh. Like, this thing is a proper superstar. Like, don't forget, he didn't jump the last at Cheltenham. He paddled through the last. He was given plenty to do. Admittedly, they went fast and fell in the heap a bit, but the Yellow Clay managed to stick on. I think this horse is a monster. I think Constitution Hill's gone, and I don't think Anzadam is currently or probably ever will be good enough to win this. And as for Golden Ace, I'm not a fan. I've not been a fan. I've come out of 2 Cheltenham festivals now going, I don't believe that that's the right result, and I think these horses get caught up with sooner or later. It's the New Line for me, and 7-4 I think is value. I'd nearly back him at 4-7.
George Gorman, the YouTube comment section is going to be red hot. That is some bold opinions there from George Gorman. He'd back the New Line against this field at odds on. Constitution Hill is done. With that in mind, 1xBet's international racing correspondent, Ivan Venko, I can just tell you he's been given a new title. That's why we haven't heard from him for quite a while. But it is time to hear once again from Ivan. I'm delighted to say that 1xBet have got him back for us. So, Ivan, your thoughts on Constitution Hill? If you were to try and sum it up for us, how would you give his prospects in the Fighting Fifth Hurdle?
If you can make God bleed, then people will cease to believe in him. And they will be blood in the water, and the sharks will come.
Profound and succinct as always from Ivan Venko, 1xBet's international racing correspondent. So if you can make God bleed, Andy Newton, people will cease to believe in him. And that clearly is what's happened with Constitution Hill, because there is absolutely no way that you would have all of these horses lining up to take on Constitution Hill. This didn't happen in previous years. They all ran scared. They can't wait to take him on. Are they in for a bashing? Is he about to be a Lazarus-like comeback? Sprinter Sacre all over again. Nicky Henderson lifts him off the canvas, and it's a glorious return at Newcastle. Or is Dan Skelton going to put him in his place?
Well, look, as racing fans, I think we probably all would like to see Constitution Hill bounce back, but we've been here before, haven't we? Look, to be fair, he sort of bounced back last year, but he's coming back from a sort of more of a mega setback than last year, didn't he? Because we were in this situation about 12 months ago. Lossy Mouth, Constitution Hill at Kempton over Christmas, and he defied the critics then and won easily. And then after that, we all know it all went a bit terribly wrong. A couple of falls, and then the last one at Punchestown was probably the worst of the lot, wasn't it? Because didn't fall, sent off 8-13, and still got trounced. So I'm sort of with George, really. I mean, look, the New Lion has got about £11 to fine with Constitution Hill. And there's conundrums all over. It's like, will Constitution Hill come back to where he was? Will the new line be quick enough for the drop back in trip? And is Anzadam this superstar that Mullins is sort of putting out there that he might be? So there's a lot of camps to go in, and I just think that the Skelton boys are just mopping up these Saturday races, and I couldn't believe when Constitution Hill went favourite the other day, and I was like, hang on a minute, like that's just weird. He's got three horrible runs. It's coming back off. The new line's done literally nothing wrong, and it's going to stay. I don't know what the ground's doing up there. It's going to be probably normally on the soft side, isn't it? Well, it's good to soft at the moment. I haven't really checked the weather, so any more rain would help the new line, obviously. Paul Townend coming over, we should probably mention that for Anzadam. That is going to affect the price a bit. I think it has come in a tad because it was a little bit bigger the other day, but it's still around 3-1. But as you say, it's pretty much, by Lossiemouth, this is the champion hurdle, and it's going to tell us a load of clues. Constitution Hill's 9s for the champion hurdle. Anzadam, I think we looked a minute ago, is around sort of 6s, 13-2 if you're lucky. And the Lou line is sort of battling it out with Lossiemouth as favourite at around sort of 3-4-1, something like that. So look, I just think the new line's going to have too much. Personally, it's there, and you could argue that form of the Turners has been franked. I know that the final demand has come out over fences, but looked a superstar, didn't it, over fences? So yeah, new line for me, mate. And like George said, I can't believe the price of it. I mean, I'd probably be putting it more even money personally.
I think a lot of people, Peter, are going to be using the yellow clay as hang on a second. This guy can't be that good. Look at what Colonel Mustard beat him. Like, what is this nonsense? There's no way. The yellow clay was nearly killed at Punchestown. I suspect he's still reeling from that. And Gordon Elliott is adamant that he didn't really run his race. So I certainly wouldn't be using that as a stick to beat him with. On time form, he's only got £5 to find with Constitution Hill. On Racing Post ratings, he only has £3 to find. And surely, similar story with Craig Dawning. After a summer on his back, physically and mentally, he strengthens up some more. That improvement comes. So where are you? Are you with the unexposed potential of Anzadam, the unexposed potential of the new line dropping back in trip, or the proven form that has to be restored of Constitution Hill?
Well, yeah, it's an absolutely intriguing race. But before we get into that, Emmet, I just want to thank you for your kind words last week about my best friend who passed away. He was my oldest friend in the world. Ray was his name. And I just want to say to his family, because the funeral's taking place, they're all incredibly brave, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The mother, the father, and his twin brother Alan, and all his sisters, and his other brother Colin. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. And I wanted to say to Ray that, we're all, his family, we're all thinking of, I'm thinking of words don't come easy in times like these, but, my thoughts and prayers are still with the family, and, they're an incredible family. And, Ray got unlucky. He got an extremely rare disease, which, we all moan about our luck here and there when it comes to the betting game, but that's really, truly what tragedy and bad luck is. So just wanted to say to them, we're thinking of them constantly, and my thoughts and prayers are with them always. And, we'll never forget Ray, Anyway.
Well said. God rest him. Well done. Sorry for the last bit.
Yeah. No, thank you. Appreciate it. Going back to this race, I think we're going to learn. Well, we're going to learn a lot from it to see where these horses all stand. So it's a hard one to know. We're going to be a lot wiser after. But for me, I'm in the Anzadam camp. My notes on him after he won at Fairyhouse. Now, the only thing about him, he is injury prone, but obviously he's turning up here ready to rock. Otherwise, we would be bringing him. My notes after he won in Fairyhouse on the 30th of November was, I think this could be one of the best hurdlers I've ever seen. That's how much I was impressed with that victory. Now, we're going to find out come Saturday, because he's taken on the new lion who's meant to be the next coming. And what Constitution Hill's going to turn up, we don't know. If he turns up the horse he was, well, I don't know if Anzadam could beat him. The vibes are all brilliant once again about Constitution Hill, but we need to see it, I guess. We really need to see it. But yeah, I really like Anzadam, and at those odds, he's the only one I could back. But of course, I wouldn't be rowing in. I don't know what's going to happen with the Constitution Hill, and we don't know how good the new line is. We're going to learn a lot from this race. But yeah, I couldn't go against Anzadam around 3-1 in a 3-runner race. I was really, really impressed with him at Fairyhouse. I mean, he travelled so well. He jumped well. He quickened. and he stayed on well. And Calaconte is not. I mean, Calaconte is not a bad horse, and he made him look, just made him look very, very ordinary.
She was good in Cork the other day. That was over fences, and to be fair, Jade de Crugy completely blew out, but still, it was a really likeable performance. I was watching that race with the Tap boys, actually. Shout out to Declan and Andy from the Tap podcast, which is excellent. They made another cameo appearance on RTE, which is great to see as well. One of the three of us may very well have backed Calaconte, but then very swiftly handed the money back, and the John Durham. Yes, it was me. What a dum-dum. Gamble responsibly and all that malarkey. Okay, I'm with the new line. I do fear Anzadam an awful lot, but I'm with Andy, I'm with George and the new line. And this might seem a little bit odd to you, but I have a funny feel. I have a sneaky suspicion what's going to happen in this race is that the new line wins it, continues the great run of the Skeltons, and then the Christmas hurdle at Kempton, that's where Constitution Hill comes roaring back and wins. And he gets his 4th Christmas hurdle win. Anzadam maybe gets closer to the two of them, and then it sets up perfectly for what could be an epic, truly epic champion hurdle. So maybe that's a little bit too much starry-eyed thinking, but that's currently the way my mindset is going. I think the new line should be favoured. He's the more exciting, unexposed one, and I'm going to side with the younger up-and-coming horse, but it's just going to be great to see Constitution Hill back, and it's going to be fascinating to see these really two very exciting horses who are completely unexposed take him on. Maybe you do a reverse forecast on Anzadam and the new line on the day, and let us know in the comment section on YouTube who you're going to be siding with as well. We're going to go to the feature race at Newbury in a second. First of all, this episode is brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland and you're looking for a new bookmaker, look no further. The link is in the episode description on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us. Click the link in the episode description. It will take you right to the 1xBet website. Fast withdrawals, over 7,000 betting markets for you to get stuck into every single day. If you're listening to this and watching this before Black Friday, which you should be, there's a massive Black Friday offer, which is just wow, if you can get involved in that. 18 plus, terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. Find out more. Link is in the episode description to take you there. The Hennessy, 255 at Newbury. We have race titles, and I didn't properly use them. What was the point in putting those up? And then we don't use them. There's that. And now to this. Apologies. I don't know why that wasn't in place. We need Leah to be sorting that stuff out for us. The Hennessy Gold Cup. Your favourite, as things stand, is Myretown for the Lucinda Russell and Michael Scudamore partnership. Obviously, super impressive at Cheltenham, but that was off a mark of 1:27 where he was able to dominate the race. Now he has to run off 1:42 and win this first time out. 5-1 in Ireland is the price with 1xBet. Resplendent Grey, eligible to improve in his second start off a layoff. He'll need to, though. He's now off a mark of 1:53, but he has got Sean Bowen on board, and Ollie Murphy's horses are running well. 6s with 1xBet. Highland, an 8-1 shot. He's obviously got good form with the Jukebox Man, who's come out and been a good winner in a race we discussed with Lizzie Kelly and Daryl Jacob in the Monday Review. The Changing Man for the informed Tizard team. Extraordinary level of form for the Tizards. Brendan Powell riding brilliantly as well, a 9-1 shot. And Cathy Dory for Sam Thomas and Dylan Johnson at 10-1 shot. Spanish Harlem leads a fascinating duo for Willie Mullins, including Blizzard of Oz, who Daryl Jacob was sounding very bullish about a couple of weeks ago. 14-1 about him. He's pro form top rated. 12-1 about Spanish Harlem. Who are you with? George Gorman.
Yeah, in terms of the Hennessy, it's a very competitive renewal for starters. I'm obviously a big fan of Myretown. I put him up on the podcast for Cheltenham, as well as in the cheat sheet, which will be back again this year. He does fall foul of a very strong stat in this race, that 12 of the last 12 winners have had at least 6 previous chase runs, which takes out him and Katati Dory. And another interesting one for me is season, in terms of having a run. 10 of the last 12 had already had a run that season, which obviously is against him, as well as none of the main contenders. It's mostly just him. But Resplendent Grey would surely have a shout, but it's probably a little too short for me in this sort of context. Spanish Harlem, however, fits all of the bills in terms of age, number of runs, the backup, the form of that. What was it? The Kerry National, isn't it? At Listowel. Beat 3-card Bragg comfortably, who came out and won at Cheltenham next time out. He's the only one of the real main contenders that I'll give a chance, who's trained by a previous winner of the race as well. It was 57 days ago, that run in the Kerry National, but you'd like to think he'll still be fit The interesting thing for me as well is while he's had 11 runs over fences, the penny's only just dropping with him. He is improving. He probably would be. He's not even. I'm a bit surprised by the price. About 16-1 is sort of huge about him. I just think I couldn't let Willie Mullins' first string in this go off that sort of price. So he's probably the one I'm going to be playing. Once again, I think there's another big one in Risking the Ground, who's a massive price, but wouldn't like any more rain. A small shout out to Monty Starr as well. Monty Starr actually off a fourth in the Gold Cup, 159 isn't a ridiculous rating for a horse like that. And I'm going to be riding his 3 parts brother in about 3 weeks in a point to point. So I would love him to go and win this so that horse can go and win at Charing and be worth a hell of a lot of money. It would be quite nice for everyone involved.
Who is that?
But that's he hasn't got a name yet. But I think he's out of a sister of Monty Starr, but he's also by Walk in the Park.
Oh.
Which makes him a 3 parts brother, I think is what they call it, even though it's sort of a nephew. But yeah, no, I schooled him this morning, and he's considering he's never been to a racecourse before, he jumped very well. So I'll be keeping an eye on him. I probably will I'm going to keep following Risking the Ground. I probably will have a small bet on him each way, especially he's £3 well in, because I think they put him up another £3 after Blue King Daru won that race at Wincanton. So he's actually £3 well in off his actual mark. So that horse, just at 66s, I couldn't let it go at that price. But the main selection is going to be Spanish Harlem.
I seriously considered Monty Starr for this race. Seriously considered. He's down to a handicap company after racing against second to Spillane Tower. I know that form didn't work out particularly well, but the fact to file form obviously did. Embassy Gardens is a good horse on his day. His defeats have come to Galopin des Champs in the Irish Gold Cup, the Gold Cup, and the Punchestown Gold Cup, when maybe he was just a little bit over the top by the time Punchestown comes around. And now he runs in a handicap. But Darragh O'Keefe doesn't want to ride him. That was the thing that put me off.
12 stone.
I'm not.
Do you want to run down of the horses that have won the Hennessy with top weight? 2 for Arkle, 2 for Denman, 1 for Millhouse, 1 for Trabolgan, and 1 for Borough Hill Lad. That's a hell of a list of horses.
Yeah, it is. And I'm not for a second suggesting that Monty Starr is Denman 2.0, but it's not the race it was. No, it's not the race it was, and he has class. There is class there for Monty Starr. And it makes sense that they're running him in this race. But why does Darragh O'Keefe not want to ride him? The Brown Advisory Forum was done no favours over the weekend. I mean, maybe Lecky Watson needed it. Maybe he did. Stellar Story was fine in the Betfair Chase. It's not. I don't know. 20-1. I wouldn't put anybody off if you're backing him. Andy Newton, who are you with?
It's actually a very good race, isn't it? I mean, it's great that all the big guns have sort of held their ground, and we've got 24 in there. Mullins has got 4 of them, and he's ramping up his title defence, I suppose, this weekend, isn't he? So
just a £5,000 in prize money so far, but here it comes.
£5,000, yeah. He's actually, I got a piece on it on Sportscast. Actually, he's actually 257th. In the table at the moment, but that is all going to change this weekend. Maybe not here. I mean, there's probably 200 grand up for grabs in this race and the fighting 5th, and that's without the place money. So, the Mullins charge. I think he's 5-2 to catch him. Skelton's 1-3. That's the betting at the moment for the trainers' title. So it's going to be intriguing over the next sort of 3 or 4 months. But yeah, going back to this race, I mean, look, Nichols won it last year, and he's won it 4 times. Actually rode the winner of it, didn't he, back in the 80s? Or 2 winners back to back, Nichols as well. So he's going same owners, Inch House. That used to be a John Joe horse. So got a lightweight course winner. So that's going to be sort of looking for Nichols' 5th winner, I think, in this race. Then Resplendent Grey. I just think there might be a bigger target for him down the line. I think he'll win a staying handicap at some point, but you could argue that the form of that race with handstands has taken a bit of a knock after the Betfair last week. Look, the changing man's going to be the old classic play spot banker, but only 1 win from God knows how many it's had over fences, and that would be the worry for me. Chizard's obviously flying at the moment, but the changing man's going to hit the frame. Will it be good enough? Highland's still probably dining out on coming second to the Jukebox Man last year. Katate Theory same sort of thing. Won the old Racing Post Chase, didn't it? And then he got hyped up the ratings. Panic Attack, can't have that. Bit too old. Paddy Power winner. Going back to sort of George's stats, 21 of the last 23 have been 8 or younger. So that's Panic Attack, age 9. There's a few other older ones in there as well, but a lot do fit the bill. So the two I've sort of come down on, and it's a bit boring, but I do like the favourite. I think Myretown. I mean, Lucinda Russell has been sort of beaking off a bit that this is potentially one of the best she's trained, and if that is true, and the benchmark maybe someone like Cornish Rambler or someone who was rated 160, this is still 142. I know, he got put up quite a big amount from the Ultima. What was it? I can't remember how much it went up. Something like 13, 14 pounds or something. 15 pounds it went up, didn't it, from winning that? So, but I just think that if those comments are true, that for marker 142, Myretown still could be well handicapped here. And then I will have a little play, I think, with last year's third, Victorino. I just think that he stayed on all right. Ran all right in the Bet365 at Sandown behind Resplendent Grey. Got a massive weight pull, I think 12 pounds or something with that one. And as I said last week, there are little signs that Venetia's horses are just about to hit form. Not quite gone there yet. And she's had a couple of wins in this race in the past. Teton Mill back in the day, and I think she won it with Cloudy Glen as well more recently. So yeah, Myretown favourites have actually got not a bad record in this. 7 of the last 23. Considering the competitiveness of this race, that's like a 30% strike rate for favourites. So if Myretown does go off, I'm not too worried about that. So Myretown and Victorino for me.
Peter?
Yeah, 24 runners, very, very competitive handicap. But yeah, I think Andy has a point with Myretown. It's hard. It's a hard one to weigh up. I mean, he could be a very good value, and he mightn't be value. It's hard to work out. But I certainly wouldn't be laying him at 5-1. I'd rather be backing him. So yeah, I'd be putting him up. I could make a case for 4 or 5 horses here, but I'll go with him. And another one I'd be looking at as well is Lowry's Bar.
Yes.
I think he's a bit of value at 25-1.
Yeah.
He hasn't done a whole pile wrong since going chasing, but I mean, he's gone up quite a bit from his first run behind Jaguar. He's up 18 pounds since he started his chasing career. Obviously put a line through his last run. It was too bad to be true. And then before that, he was behind Genko Blue, and he was quite progressive going into that race. And that wasn't a bad run to be beaten 2 1/4 lengths by Genko Blue. So he's a bit of value, 25s. And the reserve, if it gets in, Ask Brewster. It's around 25-1, I think. I don't know what the odds is for that with 1xBet. You might tell me. He could outrun his odds as well. But look, very competitive race, but I'd definitely be keeping those 3 inside. And my selection out of those would probably be, it would be Myretown over Lowry's Bar. But I'd be putting something in both of them anyway.
Very keen on Spanish Harlem today. I'm still keen on him, but I'll give you 2 others. Lowry's Bar is definitely one of them. He's won 3 of his 6 starts going left-handed, placed in the other 2. He's won twice on flat tracks and placed in another one. He's won 4 times from 5 starts in the months of November, December, and placed in the other one. So he goes well at this time of year, and he has placed off a layoff of 60 days or more. The Johnson team are going really well. Obviously, he was disappointing the other day. Yeah, his last run was behind Catatori in that old Racing Post chase. But he was sent off 17-2 for that race. Mark of 148 is probably fair. I think it's very, very fair, in fact. And I'm not sure that the handicap ratings are fair for a lot of these horses. I don't know if Resplendent Grey was done any favours by winning first time up. And it's not like Handstands then advertised that form. I know that he's held in very high regard, but it's not like that form was advertised in the Betfair chase. So I like Lowry's Bar. I think he's very, very interesting. Fitness is a bit of an edge, a bit of a problem for him. I'm not going to be surprised if Monty Starr just goes out and makes all in at least places, and he might go and win it. That's a classy horse in his day.
Very classy, yeah.
He's a very classy horse in his day. And these, like Blizzard of Oz is on 153, Spanish Harlem 155. Myretown is maybe he's fairly rated on 142, but do Lucinda's horses go well at this time of year in these big races? I don't know about that. Resplendent Grey 153. Like, does it really matter that he's carrying top weight if he's 159 and he's probably a 160s horse? And Johnny Burke's a great jockey, so each way selections on Monty Starr and Lowry's Bar for me. Okay, we'll go to the we'll go back in time, shall we, to the 140 at Newbury, which is the handicap hurdle. All over friendship here. Thanks very much. Thanks for coming. Harry Cobden's going to be on board. He's a 72 shot with 1xbet if you're betting in Ireland. Who were you with? George Gorman.
Yeah, look, I think it's very hard to see past friendship here, especially given there's a bit of rain in the forecast and the amount of form this horse has on softer ground like that. I think the win back in January at Taunton came on soft ground. Decent run at Chepstow last October. Like, it was very hard to see past that horse here. Like, Ludor was the other one sort of on the shortlist when it came in, who in fairness has heavy ground form to his name as well. They're off the same weight. It's much of a muchness. If I was going to back one of the two, I'd probably Ludor's the bigger price, and the fact that has heavy ground form. If I was going to back one now, I'd probably back him and then hope for rain. There is one at a big price. I give a small chance each way. It's maybe slightly more interesting. I might just go very small stakes on this one. Sonigino is available at 33 to 1.
Whoa.
He's £2 below his last winning mark, and this is his first run after wind surgery. He's very out of form, but this is his second wind up. Before his first one, he was similarly out of form. He had the wind up and won his first two starts back. I think that was when he beat that Nina the Terrier, who was at the time took a hell of a lot of beating. It's just purely, this is a very classy horse on his day. Like, he was rated as high as 143 at one point, down to 135. He is 8 years old, but like I said, it's only his second wind up, which is interesting for Paul Nicholls. It's sort of taken this long, but then he was sort of running all right in bits and pieces up until the back end of last season. So I just think I could see this horse back in a handicap, turning it around, and certainly at least placing at a very big price. So it'd be small stakes, but I'll back Sonigino each way. And if I had to have a bet now, I'll probably back Ludor to win.
I should mention, if that rain comes, that increases the chances with Lowry's Bar for the feature race as well, the Hennessy. I strongly fancied the new line to win the Fighting Fifth. If I fancy him for that, Andy Newton, he's the last horse to beat Friendship when he stood up. So if I fancied the new line to go and win a Grade 1, then I've got to be all over Friendship off a mark of 136 here with Harry Cobden on board for the first time. How far does he win by?
Well, I was there at Cheltenham when he won I think it was the first race at the October meeting, and it was very impressive that day. So yeah, and he probably should be 3 on the bounce. It fell 2 runs before that as well, didn't he? So Harry Cobden's obviously an interesting jockey booking. My only little niggle is the second in that Cheltenham race, Navajo Indy, ran an absolute stinker last time, absolutely trounced. So
it was the fixed brush hurdle though, so.
It was, and there are a few little excuses there.
But I do take that on board. You are right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't yuck our yum now, Andy. Don't. No,
yeah. And look, Hobbs just won this race fairly recently, 2016, with a horse called One Fits All, and he has won the Hennessy as well. Going back to your Hennessy, won it with What's Up Boys back in the day, I think 2001. So he'll be looking for his second winner there. Wasn't that the very controversial one, because Mullins had actually won it, and then. Was that the one that Mullins had won, and then they ended up disqualifying the Mullins horse and giving it to Hobbs? Oh, it might be. Yeah, it was a while ago. I think Paul Flynn rode it. It was 2001.
That's one for I could be completely wrong about that, and if I am, I apologise. But that's one for the YouTube comment section.
Boys, yeah, 100%. And yeah, Ludor. I mean, that's got absolutely battered, didn't he, for winning like as he liked at Bangor. Went up £13. I think he's favourite at the moment for the Martin Pipe. So. I'm saying favourite, but he's something like 14, 16 to 1 because no one knows what's going on with these anti-post markets at Cheltenham yet. Personal Ambition is probably one that's going to take him along. Will it get home? I don't know, but he did run quite well last time at Carlisle, and that was the race that Hartington won, and he plugged on for fourth that day. And obviously Hartington was a horse that a lot of us were all over last week and just failed to get home at Haydock. So there is some form there. I think Personal Ambition will improve for that run. Obviously, Carlisle is a lot stiffer than Newbury. So, yeah. But look, the one that I think is a little bit overpriced is East India Express. Henderson's got a good record in this. He's won it 3 times. And he actually ran in that race, the Friendship race, and fell. And it was quite early on about halfway through, and it's too early to say whether East India Express would have done anything. And then you can rule out its last one. It was pulled up in that Haiti Claws race over 3 miles, probably just a bit too far. So and actually been dropped a couple of pounds. Freddie Gordon's on it again. He was claiming 3 the other 2 times it's run. He can't claim now, so it's probably a pound worse off, so to speak. But look, Henderson's got a good record in this race, and you go back to its win at Cheltenham in April when it won it 6 lengths. Then I just think that this has been laid out for this one. If it can stay on its feet and jump a little bit better, but East India Express at 10s each way. Personal ambition.
To beat the YouTube comment section, I'm a clown, and I was completely wrong. I was a year too soon. It was the year after Be My Royal was first past the post and ended up being disqualified in very controversial circumstances. But Mullins got his justice. He got his justice in the end.
You're on the right lines, though. You're on the right line.
I was completely wrong. It doesn't work. Peter, for you?
There's a number of horses here I could give a chance to. Friendship, Ludor, Personal Ambition, Dominic's Fault, East India Express. But I'm going to focus on 2 of them. I'm going to focus, I think Friendship has a major chance. Like you boys were saying, he looks very solid anyway, touch wood. If he stays on his feet, he should be hard to keep out of the places. So he looks a solid each way bet. And another one, I think, who he's first time out. So you see, we're still at the time of the year where a lot of horses are having their first run of the season. So we just don't know what level of fitness they're turning up. But Dominic's Fault is running off 119. I can imagine this horse reaching the high 120s minimum by the time the season's finished. I'd be disappointed if he doesn't get close to a 130 horse. So I think he's got a few pounds in hand, the handicapper, and it's that team of Sean Bowen and Ollie Murphy as well. Now, I don't know how tuned up he'd be for this, but I mean, it's a big enough pot, so they might have him somewhat. They might have him ready enough to do himself justice anyway. So I'll go with Friendship as my most likely winner, and I think he's a fair value at 92. I could see that definitely shortening up. And Dominic's Fault as well. I think he's got a few pounds ahead of handicapper. So those would be my main 2: Friendship and Dominic's Fault. Okay,
we've got the next race at Newbury we're going to talk about is I'm going to pull a crazy Ivan here in the Gerry Feilden. This is a race that we spotted. Sorry. We spotted Epatante in this race a few years ago and realised she was going to be a champion hurdle winner. I don't think there's a champion hurdle horse in this year's renewal, but I do think there's a horse who's massively overpriced. Now, I'm very interested to know what's happening on the gallops with Give It To Me OJ, who's going to carry a big weight. We've got Liv Conti, who's a really, really nice prospect and showed that at Aintree last season when placed in a Grade 1 behind Mercia. But come on, Tom Malone. Come on, Tom Malone. Do us another big favour. TT Quanti off a mark of 130 for the resurgent Paul Nicholls. This is the weekend where he comes back and gives Dan Skelton a bit of a black eye when he wins a Grade 1 and is tearing up the place left, right and centre. Surely 16 to 1 about TT Quanti is just too big a price. I have to give him a go at that price. George Gorman, who are you with?
I'm going to keep it very, very simple. I think Give It To Me OJ's completely the wrong price. He's a course and distance winner last season. His last run in the handicap was on his final start last season. He won off £6 lower. Jesus, he looked like he would have won off £6 higher the last day. He was disadvantaged by making his own running at Cheltenham, really. Like he'd be quite... He wouldn't be an idle horse, but he'd be a horse that thrive off racing with other horses. And yet the horse that pushed him for in that race came out and ran a career best the next time, pushing Rubo all the way at Wincanton. I think he's bound to improve for softer ground. Sorry, that was brewing there. He's bound to improve for softer ground. In fact, he's 1 from 1 on soft ground. We were waiting the whole time he was running on the flat for soft ground for him. Couldn't get it. Any rain's going to help his cause. He should be favourite. He's got probably the best man for the job, rides him at home. He's actually Andrew Thornton's nephew, Jack Andrews, who's our pupil assistant. Actually, I think he's just outright assistant trainer, actually. But he's a fantastic horseman. And he does everything with this horse. He's his pride and joy. And the little adjustments he made coming up into Cheltenham in his training routine paid dividends. And like everything is so well thought out. And I'm delighted he's got a horse like this to do the business with. And I don't think 12 stone will stop him. He's much better than 143. We won this race with Hansard. He's twice. Hansard's a very good horse, but this horse is better. And I just think he should. I'd be backing him at 2-3 to 1 for this, so I have to back him at 13-2.
Damn, George Gorman is coming with the big opinions today. This episode brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland, you can sign up now at 1xBet.ie or click the link in the episode description. Over 7,000 betting markets for you to get stuck into every single day on the 1xBet website. More importantly, fast withdrawals. That's a really important aspect of things. Also, huge sign-up bonuses. Various different incentives for you to check out. You can find out more about it by clicking the link in the episode description on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to us. Click the link in the episode description. It will take you right to the 1xBet website in Ireland. 18 plus only. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly. 1xBet knows the crack. Bet with your head, not above it. Sign up now to 1xBet in Ireland. If you're betting, link is in the episode description below. Big opinion from George Gorman. I think TD Quanti is just too big a price now. I've got to back him at 16 to 1 with 1xBet in Ireland, Andy Newton. But who are you with?
18 of the last 19 have been 6 or younger. That takes just one out, that Endeavour Blue. We've had 17 of the last 19 have had 4 or more runs over hurdles, which is a neg for the Skelton favourite, that Live Conti or Live Conti, and also the Harry Derham one. But I do quite like the Harry Derham one, that Vianney, only because I was quite impressed with its win at Ludlow back in February. Yarder in decent form. I mean, it ran Luamba to 6 1/4 lengths at Ascot back in January, and in a handicap mark here of 124, like Luamba's 150-ish horse, and you think, hang on a minute, like that could be 124, quite a decent opening handicap mark. And look, give it to me, OJ. I do respect. Just worried a little bit about the 12 stone, but I was impressed with it last time at Cheltenham, half-fought run, and also the second is probably franked the form a bit. But look, Emmet, do you know what? I'm down with you, mate. I did circle the Paul Nicholls one. Harry Cobden rode that Indemnity last time, and look, I know he's going to ride for Nicholls, but it's not the first time that Nicholls had a runner in the race, and Emma Lavelle had, where he's ridden the Emma Lavelle one. That Indemnity was a horse that I think it was his 1,000th winner. I think I mentioned it last time, and that's got fairly decent form.
Yeah.
But the fact he's coming off that, it was 6 it was sent off 11 to 4, I think, in that Welsh Champion hurdle. Obviously, that wasn't its running at the time. We all know Nicholls' horses were not great. I mean, they have gone a little bit funny again the last couple of weeks. If you look
2
at
from 28, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 from 28. But, back in October when the Welsh Champion hurdle was, I think around that time, his horses were a lot more hit and miss than they are now. So he had a winner today, actually. So that strike rate has probably improved a tiny bit. It's on Thursday. So, I just think I'm with you, mate. I just think, you go back to its run before that champion hurdle, the Welsh Champion hurdle, and, shouldn't be 16 to 1. And I reckon we can move the market here, mate. We can make this single figures, right? Okay.
Let's go. Team Final Furlong podcast. You can do this. Not just for a vanity project, so we make money. Because I genuinely think this horse is too big a price. It's a mark of 130. He surely improves off of. He's going to need to off of that effort behind Celtic Dino. There's absolutely no way that was his true running that day. He was sent off 11 to 4 against Celtic Dino and Alexi. Well, you know what those two horses have gone on to do since. I'd say the John Joe Neal horse back in third is pretty decent as well.
And Emmet, to be fair, it might have been like that was good ground at Chepstow.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And you go back to its form. I mean, it's going to be a lot softer on Saturday. It's one on good to soft, and it's run very well on very soft and soft. So that might have been a reason as well for the bad run last time.
Come on, Nicholls. Come on, Nicholls. You show everybody that you are still the absolute boss when it comes to the Saturdays. Get this horse in the winner's enclosure. Harry Cobden special. Peter Michael, who are you with?
Well, I mean, George works with the stable, and he's just said a 7 to 1 shot should be 2 to 1, and you boys have both gone for a 16 to 1 shot that you're hoping to move the market. So I think you boys are going to destroy this market. I mean, if one chap that works for the stable is saying a 7 to 1 shot should be 2 to 1, and you two boys are saying you're going to move the market, I mean, this market's going to be in chaos by the time this thing airs out.
Final Furlong podcast posse, you know what you have to do.
Look,
impose twat all over again.
Yeah. 17 to 2 into 5 to 2 favourite. Let's go. Fivers, tenors, 20s, left, right, gamble responsibly. Left, right, and centre. Let's smash this market to pieces.
Yeah, look, a very competitive race. Indemnity is the one I like, but the ground, I mean, I know he's been placed on a very soft ground on the flat, but the ground, National Hunt soft, National Hunt heavy, depends what the ground will turn out to be, is obviously different from flat type of soft type, flat, heavy ground. But I'll take a chance with him that he'll handle the ground. I mean, the form of his last race has worked out well. He was improving going into that race. He was travelling very, very well. The ground is a bit of an unknown, but I will take a chance and I'll go with him. Andy mentioned Vianney, and that run behind Lulamba obviously sticks out. Lulamba, sorry, obviously sticks out. I don't know. It's hard to weigh up how well in he is off 124 or not, but there's definitely scope there for him to be well in off that. And then of the others as well, I mean, I definitely respect to give it to me, OJ, and the one you lads have talked about to Quanti. But look, I mean, Skelton has the favourite in it as well. That could be, he's quite unexposed, but I mean, he's top weight. Won't be easy for a 4-year-old, but look, he's extremely unexposed, owned by Top Connection, so he could turn out to be a very decent animal as well. So it's one of those races that we're going to learn a lot from, but I'll go with Indemnity anyway. That'll be my play, in hope that the ground won't hinder him too much.
Okay, I've got a range of opinions for the 215, the Gerry Feilden at Newcastle, to Newbury, even if I could use my mouth words correctly, to Newcastle for the Rehearsal chase. Always an interesting race, and this year the favourite with 1xBet in Ireland is the Skelton. Surprise, surprise, Dan Skelton is a favourite on a Saturday for a feature race. Deafening Silence on his seasonal debut with Harry Skelton on board, 9-4. Cruise Control for the Lacey's, a 7-2 shot. And a couple of other interesting horses in there as well, including Hang In There, who I would imagine would need slightly better ground to be seen to his best. I mean, good to firm when he beat Cortland. We'll see if he holds Matt Tough if that rain comes. Who are you with, George Gorman?
Yeah, well, we sort of got a bunch of horses here that's sort of running off career high marks towards the top of the betting. I appreciate Deafening Silence got dropped £1 for his last run. But and that sort of just leads me to think those top four were sort of my well, sorry, actually, Deafening Silence I sort of ruled out because I think he is badly handicapped. The following four in the betting were the sort of main contenders for me, and I just sort of came back to Jasmine de Grugy because you're looking at the youngest of those horses, and therefore the horse most likely to still have room to wriggle off a career high mark. And given on top of that, the career best RPR came on her sole chase start on soft ground, so any rain wouldn't be too much of an issue for that horse. And what price is? Yeah, if I was going to have an each way bet here, it is interesting to me. Hang In There. The form of that horse's sort of return, I know it ran through the summer, but the first run of sort of the autumn, won 5.5 lengths, beating next time out winners Torn and Frayed and Lord Accord by 10.5 lengths and 18 lengths. The second horse, Cortland, I think fell or unseated next time and then was beaten in neck by Twig the start after. Hang In There only got £5 for that, and Freddie Mitchell takes over, taking off £5. Really soft ground wouldn't be ideal. We know this is more of a summer horse, but just the fact that the £5 has gone on and then been taken straight back off by a very, very capable jockey in Freddie Mitchell, who shouldn't have a claim at all. I just that'd be hard to ignore for me. So probably if I was going to have a win bet, it would just be a small win bet on Jasmine de Grugy. I'd be more inclined to play Hang In There each way at 14-1, because he'll be sort of bang up there with the pace, and he's waited to win again like that. It's hard to ignore for me that the third and the fourth went and hosed up next time out from that race. So yeah, it'd probably be Hang In There would be my main play there. About 14s is available, 12s, 11s widely available.
Yeah, I considered backing him during the week. The ground was the thing that put me off. He was about 16-1.
That's the thing. It's the ground. Yeah.
But people might look at him as an 11-year-old rising 12 and go and find something else here off top weight. That was a really good performance. That was a really good performance at Chepstow. No reason to think he won't be able to back it up, and he's a big price, and Emma Lavell's horses obviously going really well. Andy, who are you with?
Yeah, look, all of the last 20 didn't win last time out. So there's a bit of a stat there that does knock a few out, which unfortunately is Hang In There and that Cruise Control won the back end of last year. And then also having a run in the last 6 weeks is a fairly good stat, 15 of the last 20. And look, Deafening Silence, that ran, I think it was third in that graduation chase last year behind Iroko and Trelawn. And I just wonder at the moment, are a lot of these Skelton horses just a little bit, a point or two sort of lower than they should be on these Saturdays at the moment. And it could very well win this Deafening Silence, but I think it's just something to bear in mind at the moment. These Skelton horses just seems to be like, there's a Skelton runner, let's just make it favourite or whatever.
That's a fair point.
You know what I mean? And it's just need to be aware of that at the moment, I think. So look, the other ones that came down on hold that tall, only because Venetia Williams has a good record in this. She's won the last 2 and I think 3 of the last 8, and this one will surely come on for its last run. Ran behind that deep cave. Ned Fox is on, which I like. First time blinkers, looks overpriced. If all 8 go, you got a bit of each way there. And I just think the other one that's interesting coming out again so quick after unseating is that Confusion. The Sue Smith yard are going all right. It unseated just 7 days ago, but when you watch that race back, it was leading, I think, at the time. Bit of a funny fall. It jumped it all right and just sort of pecked and hit the jockey, and it just, he just came off. So I think they've replaced the rider, different jockey on this time, and I just think yard are going all right. Yeah, so Confusion and Hold That Tall, I think, for me here.
Peter?
Yeah, it's a race, to be honest. It's hard to know. I get what you guys are saying, that the Skelton horses at the moment could be underpriced. I don't think this is the strongest of handicaps, so I definitely would respect what Dan is running. So for that reason, Deafening Silence would be, the head of my list for this. But it's hard to be confident with him. But he'd be the starting point for me. George mentioned Jasmine de Grugy. I'll never forget this race there. I'll tell you now. Hold on, I'm just bringing it up. It was the 27th of March in Wincanton, 2024. Jasmine de Grugy ran off 73. He's now rated 120 something. He was backed as if he was an absolute certainty. And he bumped into another horse who was backed as if he was an absolute certainty, or he was well fancied. I can't remember. Plaisir de Flow. Anyway, both of them, Plaisir de Flow didn't have much form going into that day. Both of them bumped into each other and they pulled 28 lengths clear of the third. And I think both have won about 6 or 7 races each after that. And both rated 30 or 40 pounds higher. So it just shows you there's never, like you would have thought, Jasmine de Grugy would have thought, the owner, JP would have thought he was an absolute steering job that day, and he bumped into one. I think the handicapper could have caught up with him, but George is right. I mean, he's still open to improvement. He's very young. He's only 6, so he's one I'd also be keeping an eye on, because he will need to improve from last year, because the handicapper did have him, but there's every chance that he will. He's had his summer break, so he could come back in here with improvement. And I think Andy has a point as well with the blinkered first time. Hold that thought. Venetia Williams is due to click into gear soon.
Yeah.
And sometimes when she puts blinkers on a horse's first time, they can just, go to the front and just keep galloping. So, look, I'm going to go with Deafening Silence, but I'll put something small and Hold That Thought as well. And I'll keep an eye on the betting for Jasmine de Grugy. Okay,
very briefly, we're going to hit the last race at Newbury, and then we're going to talk about the Hatton's Grace pretty quickly as well, because we're recording this on Thursday, so we don't have final declarations, but we have a fair idea about who's going to be running. But the 335 at Newbury, the Jim Joel Memorial Trophy, I'm very, very interested in Harry Cobden riding for the first time. Doyen Dubar, who makes his debut for Nicky Richards. His horses are running out of their skin. He did me a favour last week with a placed horse in Florida Dreams. Up in the handicap after a win at Ayr back in February, but might actually improve for the stable switch, with all due respect to his previous connections. Again, Nicky Richards just seems to be completely resurgent this season. Gets Harry Cobden for the first time, and mark of 131 is probably fair enough given the ease of his win at Ayr. There's probably a little bit more to come from him. So I'm going to side with him at a pretty decent price, and I think he might go off a little bit shorter. Also, just the pro form stats are through. There's several positives for Doyen Dubar. Trainer with last time out winners over jumps, 26.32%. Harry Cobden, 27.27% strike rate at the course and distance. Break returners in the month of November after 150 days or more off the track, 25.45%. Sire form at course and distance, 40%. And the horse is traded 50% or lower in running over 66% of his runs. So Doyen Dubar at a 7-1 shot with 1xBet in Ireland is the one for me. Who are you with, George Gorman?
Well, I'll start with Doyen Dubar because he made my short list of 2 here. Another interesting stat on him, on seasonal reappearances, 1-3-2-1, and signed off with a heavy ground win last year, so any amount of rain probably won't be too much trouble. Up £5 for a 6.5 length win seems fair enough. He is 9 years old, but he's very unexposed with just 12 runs. And like you say, Nicky Richards takes over now, which, with all respect to previous connections, is a positive for any horse. Is there much value in him? I'm not sure. I would have liked to have seen him more around like 10s for like a sort of a nothing each way bet, like a each way bet, but you're still making money on the place part. So I'll probably watch him. If he drifted out to more of a price, it just might be that his 9-year-old or something else gets backed, and you might get a better price on him on the day. So I'll bear him in mind. But the main selection for this now is Rare Edition. I thought, in hindsight, ran an absolute blinder on his seasonal reappearance, which was also second run since a win-up. He was beaten 7 lengths by Thistleask, conceding £28 to him. Like, that is incredible. Allowing for Tristan Durrell's claim, they would now be reopposing off £32 better terms for him if they met today. Like, that's soft. The only thing, really soft ground might not be ideal, but he did beat Rubo 7 lengths in a Kempton novice hurdle on soft ground back in the day. So I think it's going to be Rare Edition for me. If it went really soft, I'd probably just switch to Doyen de Bar. That would probably be what I'd do. But if I was backing him today on what's it there, good to soft currently, I'd be backing Rare Edition now. And then if it went real soft, I'd probably have the saver on Doyen de Bar.
Andy, for you?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. Look, General Medrano won it last year, up £8 though, so a bit more to do this time. The two I like are Java Alan, course of distance winner here last year, I think, and is only up £6. Yard going all right, Jane Williams. And the other one, who is 2 from 2 at Newbury, is that Rathgall Hill. Brendan Powell rides. As you mentioned, he's riding out of his skin as well. So, yeah, that could go all right on its seasonal reappearance.
Shout out to Lizzie Kelly's brother, Chester, who's going to run Uncle Phil. He had a winner again the other day. So he's had 4 winners from just... Only 6 horses have run. 3 of them have won. He has 4 winners in total. That's pretty damn impressive for Chester Williams. And they picked up Uncle Phil for a pretty cheap price. And he's now down to a mark of 134. And Isabel Ryder claims 7. Maybe 66 to 1 is insane about that horse. Peter?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet as well. Javidarland's a horse I like because he goes to the front, jumps well and tries his heart out. But I would like to see his form work out a bit better from last year. But I mean, he's young, he's only 6 and he's still off 126. So I don't know how much in hand he has of the handicapper, but I can see him getting to the front today on Saturday and touch one jumping well and running a big race. So I'll go for him each way. I think he'll be bang there. I'm just a little bit concerned if he has enough in hand of the handicapper, and I hope he can prove to me that he does. And I agree with what you lads are saying about Doyen de Bar, very likeable horse, and I'll be keeping him inside as well.
Okay, Sunday, there's lots of Grade 1 action at Fairyhouse. If you can make it there, you absolutely should. We normally do a special preview for the Fairyhouse Winter Festival. Just don't have time. I'm afraid I'm presenting on TalkSport tomorrow with Tanya Stevenson and Daryl Jacobs, so looking forward to that. But if you can get to Fairyhouse, you absolutely should. Tiapu is the favourite to get back into the winner's enclosure after being beaten by Lossiemouth in this race a year ago. And of course, he won it a couple of seasons before that when beating Imperi Pass. Ballyburn is back. He's back over hurdles, and he's back for Willie Mullins. He's currently the second favourite at 6 to 4. Mystical Power is a really, really interesting horse. If you look back at how well he was travelling in the Stairs Hurdle, man, we could have had a right touch that day. We had him at 33 to 1. He was cruising until he ended up pulling up. But at least he's back, and hopefully he could end up being a bit of a quiet one for the Stairs Hurdle with not much talk about him so far. And a whole load of other horses, including Glenn Killen, who we didn't really give proper acknowledgement to. It was a huge run behind Lossiemouth. Okay, he's beaten 19 lengths. And to be fair, a couple of horses disappointed him behind. But great piece of placing from the Kellys, and great to see those famous colours doing well in Grade 1 races again. Who is going to come out on top? Is this just between the top two, Tiapu and Ballyburn? And if so, who comes out on top? George Gorman?
It's definitely between the top two. We don't need to entertain any of the others, I don't think. Tiapu and Ballyburn, one has £2 in it there. The peak ratings over hurdles. Tiapu was 164. Ballyburn managed to get to 163 despite, just having a novice hurdling season. At this trip, at 2 mile 4, Ballyburn, you would think, would have the edge should he take back to hurdling like he jumped before. I'd see no reason why he wouldn't. We've seen Tiapu look vulnerable in this race in the past against probably lesser horses than Ballyburn, I would say, and just at evens, he doesn't represent any value for me here, knowing that he's got one day in mind. Sure, Ballyburn will probably come on little for the run, but it's more important for Ballyburn to win this race than Tiapu for me. Tiapu will win this and be put away until March. Ballyburn's got plenty of other races to run in. I just this trip, Ballyburn should have too many gears for Tiupu for me.
I think you're wrong about that. From what I understand, Tiupu is going to go for this, and then they're going to run him at Ascot. They're going to bring him out again this year. Now, if they don't go there, the talk is they're going to go for the 3-mile race at Leopardstown at Christmas. But apparently, total change in plan. They're going to actually run him throughout the season this time around. At least one more run before the new year. So I think is it the long walk at Ascot?
The long walk,
yeah, the old Barracuda race. I'm pretty sure that's the race he's going to go for on the back of this, which does make me wonder if he's ready. And if that's why they're going to go
that makes even more chance he's not going to be fit for this.
Yeah, that makes me wonder, is he ready for this? And that means I'm with Ballyburn. Back over hurdle. Look, there's no question, Andy, this is a very, very talented horse. He just was a disaster over fences. The head carriage is too low. He doesn't like it. But over hurdles, he's a very, very good horse, and I think he's going to prove it in this race.
Yeah, 4 from 5 over hurdles, but only defeat over hurdles was where?
Firefox. And in this, at this track on hurdling debut, yeah.
Yeah, so that might be something. Whereas obviously Tiupu, we know, loves Fairyhouse, 1-1, 2-1-1-2 or something, and taking this race a couple of times before. And we just got to take fitness on trust. They're both coming off a 200+ day layoff. Mystical Power, can't have that. I mean, how did that go off joint favourite for the Fighting Fifth last year? When you look back at the that race, anyway.
Considering who you went off joint favourite with.
Exactly, so Gino. So anyway, that's another story. But yeah, it's a tricky one. You're either with the Ballyburn to bounce back and prove to be a better hurdler. They're both 5-1 joint favourites for the stayers. So there's a bit of that market's going to move all over the shop after this. But probably Ballyburn if I'm pushed, just because like you say, Tiupu might just have other Ascot and Cheltenham in mind. And anyway, we'll see. But yeah.
Some crack if he wins, and Gordon is going well. 6 runs at Fairyhouse, 4 wins, 1 place, and that place was behind Lossiemouth in this race a year ago. And no Lossiemouth to worry about this time around. So I don't underestimate him, but I would like to see Ballyburn back in the winner's enclosure, Peter.
Yeah, I like Ballyburn a lot. He's a horse I really like as a hurdler, and I thought he'd make a very exciting chaser, but obviously didn't go to plan. Look, it's hard to know. We're still at the time in the season that, Mullins is having 1 to 7 shots beaten, 2 to 7 shots. So we just don't know. It's hard to be confident. But if you knew both of them were turning up in top form and 100% fit, Ballyburn would be steering job in my mind. But yeah, I don't know what level of fitness he's turning up at, and I don't know, We're going to learn again. We're going to learn a bit from this race, but yeah, I'll definitely be on the Ballyburn side. He's a horse I really like, and if he can continue where he left off when he was hurdling, he could be very, very, very hard horse to beat this season. But he has to come and prove, that he can do that after a disappointing chasing campaign.
And that switch to hurdles doesn't always work out, but
yeah,
I'm hoping it does with Ballyburn. There's a lot of talent there. Yeah. We're going to see Slate Steele back this weekend as well, and I wouldn't underestimate him either, by the way. Might be a bit much for him this weekend. I think they'll have some fun with that horse this year. We're going to get the naps and any other business from the team in a second, very, very briefly. This episode is brought to you by 1xBet. If you're betting in Ireland, if you're looking for a new bookmaker, look no further. You have found them. 1xBet is the place to go. Over 7,000 betting markets for you to get stuck into every single day on the 1xBet website. Fast withdrawals, loads of new customer sign-up specials, especially for Black Friday. Check those out. You can find out more information in the link in the episode description on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever it is you're listening to this. It's available for you right now. 18 plus only, obviously. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly. Your game, your odds, your 1xBet. The link to 1xBet is in the episode description right now. Click it, and hopefully you'll do very well there. George Gorman, who is your nap of the weekend and any other business?
Well, you probably heard I was very strong on a couple there, so I'm doing something a little unorthodox this week. And my nap is the new line, Give It To Me OJ double. I'm putting them in together. And I wouldn't begrudge anyone chucking Ballyburn in there as well, but just on the fact that it's his first run back over hurdles, I won't include him in the nap. Next best will be Rare Edition. But yeah, the nap is the Give It To Me OJ new line double.
George Gorman. Dropping bombs on the FFP. Andy Newton, your nap of the weekend.
Yeah, we're on a hat trick actually. So we had July Flower and Woodoo go in on the naps. Yeah, they've been fairly short, so we're going to stick New Lion. I'm not doubling it up with OJ, but that's going to be the nap. And the East India Express in the 140 at Newbury. It looks a good price at 10-1. The Hendo thing, 335 at Newbury. That Java Allen that we talked about again looks very good each way. And in the Hennessy, the old Coral Gold Cup, Myretown for me, even though it's favourite. So yeah. But New Lion is the nap to try and make it 3 on the bounce.
Okay, if the ground is good, it'll be a lucky 63, which will include hang in there. It's not going to be good ground. So if it's good to soft, I might take a chance on him. If it's soft ground, take him out. It's a lucky 31, and it's a lucky 31 on the New Line in the fighting fifth. French Ship, who is the nap of the weekend, 140 Newbury. French Ship, 140 Newbury. TT Quanti. Oh, we're heading to Dubai, folks. We're heading to Dubai. 215 Newbury. Doyen Dubar helps us get to Dubai at a big price for Harry Cobden. 335 Newbury. If we're waiting on him in the last race at Newbury, there'll be no fingernails left, and we'll be there'll be no voice either, because I'll just be roaring Harry Cobden on, and that's because it'll be split stakes. Lowry's Bar, Monty Star in the Hennessy. I do like Spanish Harlem for that race as well, but I can only back 2, so I'm going to take Lowry's Bar and Monty Star. Each way, scumbag bets. Hopefully, we can get them in the frame, and maybe we shoot the lights out. And if we do, see you in Dubai. Peter Michael, your nap of the weekend.
You can back 3, Emmet. Yeah, I mean, you have to do it.
Throw Spanish Harlem in so as well. Let's go!
You have to do it. Imagine if he comes up with all the other ones. Jesus, you'd be suicidal.
If you back 3, one of them has to win, though.
Oh!
The odds allow you to. Sometimes I bet 3 or 4 horses in the race, depending on the
Gamble
odds.
responsibly.
Yeah, I'm going to take the boys on. I'm going to go with Anzadam, the fighting fifth.
Hold on a second. Your nap of the weekend is Anzadam.
3-runner race, he's 3-1, and I think he's a very, very special horse. So, but look, again, it's a bit hit and miss with Willie Mullins' horses. So, look, we're gonna learn a lot from that race. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's nowhere near good enough, but I think this is a good animal, and we'll find out. But look, I'm not very, very strong on him because it's his first one of the season. So I'd like to have a horse that I'd be very strong on, knowing, they're 100%. There's no excuses. I mean, he could turn up 90% fit, so there's an excuse. I don't know, but I'll take a chance because I think he's valued at 3-1. And just to say, because you mentioned at the start of the show about a tip I gave that was 120-1 in the exchange, and you're right, he was. I tipped him up at 33s, but some members managed to back him at 120s on the exchanges. So there's plenty of room there for anyone who wants to join. The last 2 days, we've had a serious amount of winners, including a 33-1 shot that was backed at 120-1. So for £1 a day, I don't know what they're waiting for, Emmet. Do you?
Not a notion.
No.
Not a notion. We were also treated to a brilliant rant about a jockey getting beaten on a horse, which, how much money would you have won if that jockey had not given that horse a brain dead ride?
It was too much money. But that wasn't the reason. I mean, he was one of the first ones it was the first horse I tipped, actually, that lost. So, and I was already giving out about it. So it wasn't because it cost me money. It was just a stupid ride you have to learn from the previous ride, but we won't get into that anyway.
And then you were then treated to 3 winners after that, including.
And I had 2 tips today. Now the prices weren't great, but 2 of them absolutely had top. Yeah, they couldn't have won any easier.
At P Michael Racing X. At P Michael Racing X.
Christmas.
Gamble responsibly and all that malarkey, but man, it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Let us know in the comment section below who you're backing this weekend. The very best of luck to you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to the Final Furlong podcast. Your support of the show means an awful lot to us. We're back on Monday. I think Jamie Wren is going to make a cameo appearance alongside Lizzie Kelly and Daryl Jacob as we break down all the big stories from the weekend's racing, and there's going to be a lot to talk about, so we're looking forward to your company there. Smash a like on this video if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode of the Final Furlong podcast. Gavin Lynch returns to the Final Furlong podcast in person. We're recording on location at a racetrack, a very famous racetrack in Ireland. Next week, Gavin Lynch returns to the Final Furlong podcast. It's always great fun to have him on the show. From George Gorman, Andy Newton, Peter Michael, and me. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Best of luck with your bets this weekend. We'll talk to you again very, very soon. Look after yourself and each other. God bless.
Thanks for spending some time with us on the Final Furlong podcast. We're independent media, so if you like what we do, hit like, share, and subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and it genuinely helps. And if you enjoyed this episode, there's plenty more where that came from. Don't miss out. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all major platforms, and join us on the gravy train. The Final Furlong Podcast. Independent, unfiltered, and powered by you.